Hello and welcome back to Down the Slope. We are joining you just after the Edinburgh Derby last night, where we drew 1-1 at Tynecastle. We are joined by Liam, as always, and we've got special guests who've been on in recent months. We've got McBee and Chris Finn. Chris, I'll come to you in a second, but McBee, I love a man that has something relevant in the background, and you have got the goal scorer last night, Emiliano. Talk us through that top and give us your immediate thoughts after yesterday.
So the top was a gift to the wee man on Saturday. We'll not go into the ins and outs of how that came about, but obviously a very, very happy wee boy walking away for the game on Saturday with that in his tail. And immediate thoughts for last night. Don't know if one that got away again, I think. I've seen us play worse at Tynecastle and win. Not very often, right enough, but definitely one that got away is the immediate feeling of that.
And Chris, last time we had you on, you were quite prominent in your viewpoint on Montgomery. I think that some of the things you outlined that he could improve. I think that the at least enjoyment factor of watching Hibs, especially the last two games, has improved. Just before we get your thoughts on the game, what's your stance on Montgomery at the moment?
Yeah, there has been a notable improvement. I think it's just a shame I had to get to that point, really. But he has changed things. We seem like I think Liam touched on it a few weeks ago that some of it was personnel based, and we've just got some better players now, which has improved the team. So I would say it looks more like he might be heading towards an upward trajectory than it did a month ago.
And then I know you didn't manage to get a ticket to the game, but immediate thoughts watching it on the TV. I always think it's slightly different watching on the TV to actually being there, but was it just frustration in the pub?
Yeah, it was frustration. It was a lot of frustration, but it's tough when you're watching it in the pub because like you're not watching it. I mean, you are still watching it intently, but folk are chucking opinions at you left, right, and centre. You're bumping into folk you used to go to school with. It's no quite it's no as intense, as fully focused as much as you try to be. But much like what Andrew was saying, another missed opportunity. I don't know how many times we're going to say that, but a missed opportunity to win at Tynecastle.
And Liam, coming to yourself, this is probably the first time we went to Tynecastle, about 6 games without having about 6 pints in us before the game. Did that make the experience any different at all?
On the upside, at least we didn't give that guy that owns the Roseburn any of our hard earned cash. No offense to him if he is a Hibs fan and he's watching, but I do like it was. I did have a bit of a different feel about it, just being a midweek sort of game. To be honest, having to sort of navigate through a day's work and then going to a derby at Tynecastle felt a wee bit odd and not something I've done for a very long time. So uh, kind of on the way up, it was still enjoyable. The march was still good. Like overall, the atmosphere was decent. We spent the first half in the lower tier, but there was that many bodies. I think it was about 3 men to one seat that we just decided to move for the second half and get a slightly better vantage point. But no, it was good. Like it was good in terms of the performance. It was good, and it was still enjoyable, but probably didn't have quite the same enjoyment as being able to go to the Roseburn at 10 o'clock in the morning for a 3 o'clock kickoff. I think that always makes it that bit more enjoyable, doesn't it?
Yeah, and based off a certain person who didn't exactly have inconspicuous clothing on, I wouldn't be surprised if that pitch invader was on in the Roseburn from 10 o'clock in the morning for the 7 o'clock. But yeah, just
That
feel it'd
that
probably be.
jacket was sensational, eh?
It was so good. I got a few laughs because around me, I was like, at least they'll get back in the crowd and they'll be spotted fine. Obviously, it would be like a rainbow running about the place, man.
I don't know if you will get this reference, but like there's a shop on Great Junction Street used to exist back in the day called Gold Bros, and that was exactly the kind of clothing that they used to sell in there. It was just it was a thing of beauty, put it that way.
And just before we get into the game, would probably be slightly hypocritical if we didn't mention the fans. I know that it does go both ways, but it was probably the worst I've seen in terms of Hibs throwing stuff at players. Obviously, Shankland kind of got the last laugh by catching a pie and eating it. That man just doesn't stop haunting my nightmares. But yeah, probably just what to say. Stop throwing shit, especially shit that could potentially harm slash kill someone. Like if that bloody wine bottle opener had cracked him in the head, that could have been a very different outcome last night. One question we got in from Dave was, what's the poshest thing you've ever seen thrown on a football pitch? Chris, come to you first on that. Can you think of anything posh you've ever seen thrown onto a football pitch?
Did we not throw rugby balls onto the pitch once? When Hearts were maybe going to move to Murrayfield, because I think I remember Craig Gordon chucking one off the pitch again. So I would say the vile rugby ball is probably the poshest thing that I've seen chucked on the pitch.
McBee, Liam?
The coconut will always stick out for me. Where did that come from, and who bought it? It's brilliant.
I was in the front row of the East years ago when it was still the terracing, and I remember a £2 coin being thrown out the pitch, and I remember thinking to myself, a £2 coin? Like, how flush do you have to be to throw a £2 coin on the pitch? That's pretty posh. It's also got the Queen's Head on it, so it's definitely posh.
Raymundo sent in club branded cravat. I've not seen that, but that does sound incredibly posh on the basis I just had to say cravat. And also, just with the cost at £4 for a pie yesterday, by the way, that is ridiculous. So spending £4 on a pie and launching it on a pitch, in my opinion, you've got more money than sense if you can get away with doing that. But just to say, we've got a lot of talking points, but I want to get through the bulk of the game first. So let's just kind of touch on the key moments of the game. Focus on the Hibs goal first. Liam, do you want to kind of talk us through that moment?
I'm going to be honest. I've not watched the highlights back, so this is all based on my memory of the game.
That is fine.
I just remember Boyle being released down the right hand side, and then I think it was a pretty. I don't know if it was tame or if it was just kind of lacking in conviction, but an effort that was sort of pushed back out by Clark, and then does it
he essentially
back
chipped
out
it
of another
over
body?
Aye.
Sort of ricochets back out over another body, and Marcondes probably does what players of that ilk can do, where they slow it right down for themselves and just pick the sort of pragmatic finish. Whereas I think probably most sort of midfielders in our league would smash it, or most attacking players in our league would probably smash it. But he's got the sort of presence of mind just to slow things down, take a touch, and just place it quite beautifully into the bottom corner.
And it was one of those moments I got a decent amount of pie on my face because you know when you shout something at the football and you instantly get done out. So I shouted, Abita, give it to Abita. And then he puts it the other way. And I'm like, what's the point in kicking it to Boyle? Then Miller wins the header, flicks it on, Boyle skins his man, and we get a goal out of it. So I was like, that is fantastic. But Chris, it's just Miller and Boyle, it's quite a nice tandem, isn't it? Because you've got the big physicality of Miller, and then you've got Boyle, who always wants to run in behind. I don't think we quite utilised that enough last night, but great goal nonetheless.
Yeah. Probably Miller's a bit of a strange player sometimes. He's, nutmeg someone 1 minute and then his next touch is a slide tackle. It just seems like a guy, just you get the best and the worst of him almost like second to second. But I mean they've definitely strengthened the right hand side coming back. That's for sure. I mean, I don't think it could have got any weaker, to be honest. But again, just watching derbies, I don't, or even just big games, I don't really watch them in any sort of like analytical way. I'm sort of just like rolling with the punches for 90 minutes. I can't actually really remember. And then, don't know why you've got me on here.
And then McBee, from your point of view, McBee, was it good limbs when the goal went in?
Oh, it was right good limbs. I was in between Leon and Raymond, so imagine being in between that sandwich. That was quite the experience. No, it was a tidy finish. It had been coming as well, and it was well deserved. And I'll go against the grain. I wasn't sure last night was like your typical sort of derby, blood and thunder. There was that in the elements, but I actually thought we played really well, and a lot of it as well, getting the ball down, getting it through midfield, and trying to penetrate. Where they aren't great, which is their backline, to be fair.
It's not something I picked up on at the time, but now you've said it, I do recognise that it wasn't really typical. Like, see the first sort of 5-10 minutes, I thought that's exactly what it was, but then it sort of seemed to simmer down just a wee bit from that point onwards, and I don't know what it was. I think it was in large part, I think, down to the fact that we probably started the game better than they did, and we did just kind of control possession for quite long spells. I think the thing that frustrated me most about yesterday, looking back on it, was I felt like my leader had the beating of Atkinson every single time, and I don't think we did. We got into that space enough, and I felt like Boyle maybe didn't have the beating of Cochrane as an individual, like a sort of one-on-one sense, but I felt like doing that right-hand side, we could have had a bit more joy than we did. So I'm still kind of in that place now where I'm still sort of scratching my head as to how we've not come away when I actually think on so many of those sort of one-to-one individual battles, I felt like we were superior across the pitch. If you look at the middle of the pitch as well, I think we were, I wouldn't say we controlled it, but I would say we had the better of it for pretty much the whole game, barring that sort of 20 minutes before half-time.
If you think their main man in the middle of that park is the boy, what's his name, Bingame, is that it? And I thought for large spells he was anonymous, really, like in dictating any type of tempo to the play for the aim and everything. If anything, Mariah Welsh was an absolute standout in the middle of the park there for us and doing the job that he probably does for them most weeks.
I think Birmingham only played the last half. Was it the last 35 minutes or something?
Oh, was it?
Last,
He came on.
he came on.
Even then,
I know.
do
I
you know,
know.
like,
I think the first thing he did, McBreen, was he went to go and try and take the ball in halfway and let the ball bounce, and it went over the top of his head. And I think we sprung our counter for that. And to be honest, I'm struggling to remember any other impact he had in the game. To be honest, Devlin was his usual self, just running around kicking people.
that was right. It was Devlin that came off for him, eh? Aye. But again, largely anonymous, other than what you're saying, just booting boys.
You know what's really annoying about this Hearts team? Obviously, they're miles clear in third. I still don't know. Like I've held the same position the whole year. They've got a really good striker. They're solid enough defensively, but they're pretty crap. That Neuenhoff, they were trying to say he had a good game yesterday. I think he's absolutely humpty. That Vargas in the box is one of the worst players I've ever seen. That Rolls that plays at centre back when he plays is so fun to watch because he's terrible at football. And that Fraser boy, that's going understated. That's one of the worst Derby performances I've ever seen. That big boy that started on the right for them, 27 or whatever. He was pish. How can a team have so many bad players at once and be as far ahead as they are? It winds me up.
It's due to a satanic pact that was made on the meadows in 1874. I'm afraid that is now we're getting to the point where that is the only explanation for what happens with that football club. They've never played well. I've never seen them play well for 30 years.
Honestly, they wind me up, man. But speaking of the pact that they made with the devil, you watched it on TV, so you would have got the first sight of the replay, the VAR decision, Chris. How?
Well, I mean, it's diabolical. I mean, you can't say it's cheating, really, because why would Clancy cheat? Like, but what is it? How is he? I'm actually lost for words. I feel like doing that Real Madrid broadcaster who did like 3 minutes of like angry silence at the start of a broadcast because Real Madrid got beat. That's what I feel like doing. I can't put into words how bad a decision it is. VAR actually got it right, or at least sort of told the referee, look, I think you've made a mistake here. He's not actually tackled him. He's pulled out it. Go and have a look at the monitor. And Clancy's went, oh no, he has. They're just looking for contact, and it's just absolute nonsense that is awarded a penalty. I've said this before, right? But a penalty is an unopposed shot from 12 yards that has like over 90% success rate, right? So it is essentially awarding a goal to someone. They should be far, far rarer in football than they actually are. Like, how can that incident, quote unquote incident, result in a goal to Hearts? It's staggering. But I mean, I guess that's the rules more than the actual decision itself. But yeah, I don't know. I'm currently serving a Twitter ban for saying it would be crazy if Clancy got his cunt kicked in. And it would be crazy. It would be crazy if you picked up the Daily Record and on the front page it just said Kevin Clancy cunt kicked in. You would be like, that's crazy. I'm just saying that it would be crazy. Anyway, that's my thoughts.
Just before I get your thoughts, McBee and Liam, we did get a few people specifically talking about Clancy. Pete simply said Tim Clancy's Da sells Avon. what was the other one?
Is Tim
Mark
Clancy
Nelson.
the boy that used to
Yeah,
he
he
play
played
played
right
right
centre back
back
for
for
Play
us.
us?
fullback guy.
He got the name wrong, but
Cork City manager as well, I'm pretty sure.
in spirit, he was correct. So good on you, Pete,
Uh,
for telling us his Daciel's Avon. Someone else said that he's simply horrendous. Mike Berry said, "Fuck the Hearts, that is all." And then two other bits I want to get your thoughts on. I'll come to you for this one. McBee, where was it?
Harry, before we
Part-
move on for that, can I just say that there's a potential plot twist here that Tim Clancy actually turns out to be Kevin Clancy's dad, and that's why he's tweeted us saying that. And he gives decisions against us because he's still bitter at us releasing Tim Clancy all those years ago because of his injury problems. Do you think that's a potential plot twist?
Well, to be fair, Clancy didn't start making the terrible decisions until we released him, and that's not anything that I'm going to go back and prove against. So I think you might be onto a conspiracy here, Liam. And as we're diet Tims, according to some people, despite the fact we're older than Hearts, that can feed into the conspiracy. So it's great. But Stuart Nicholson said, might be this one for you. Do the panel we get called a panel these days, that's great. Did the panel back Kensal and Hibs going public with a statement calling out the Clancy clangers over the year? I'm sure you've seen on Twitter over the last 15 hours or so, there's been a lot of decisions that have been brought up. The history of decisions is scandalous now. Hibs need to call this out once and for all. So essentially, would you stand by the club if they publicly outed Clancy, or do you think it should be a VAR attack?
VAR actually did it. It was fine.
True.
It told him that he'd made a mistake, but he said, "No, I want to give this penalty." So I think they should. I mean, like I'm still rattled after last night. So I'm saying they should, but like I've seen it. Some of them, it goes back to like even John McGinn getting sent off, and it got like the red card got rescinded like the next day. There seems to be some sort of a problem that he's got, and I think referees kind of do this. The same thing happened with Thompson, I think, where they're not necessarily cheating deliberately to scunner Hibs. That's not, but they're just tied up in knots because it's like, oh, this happened before, and then everyone was on it. They just shouldn't be refereeing. They shouldn't be refereing Hibs games because he's just tied himself up in knots with like giving bad decisions before, but then it's like, oh no, but I can't not give that decision because then it looks like I'm making up for what I've done before. It's just an absolute mess. So they should go public.
Any arguments with that?
I would suggest it's not just a Clancy issue. Like it's a multitude of referees are proving themselves to be inept, and it's bringing it to the fore the fact that we actually have the VAR technology, because both on the park and in the booth, wherever that may be, Harthill, Glasgow here, it's an absolute shambles. Like, and how it's being used, how it's been implemented, and the sheer amount of baffling decisions. And there's no way they can pacify people by saying, oh, quarter one, we only got 3 decisions wrong. Quarter 3, we got 13. Like, I heard Julian talk about the Scopy saying they only looked at decisions where VAR intervened. Well, doesn't even tell you half the story. Things that have went on. Like I look at some of the, in the build up yesterday, there was the usual Twitter things. Like I think there was 4 or 5 instances, even just against Hearts, where decisions had gone against us. Like the Lee Griffiths goal, for example, where it's half a mile over the line. Same with Ollie Shaw's at Tynecastle, etc. So it's not just a Clancy issue, a Thompson issue. Like it just goes straight across the board that they're all pish. It just seems to be that we're on the receiving end of a shitload more than what other teams seem to be. So I come back to the point you say. I wouldn't narrow the scope to just fully focusing on Clancy, but I'd be at constantly the SFA about just how poor the refereeing department actually is, both on the park and in the VAR setting as well.
Anything you want to chime in on the VAR situation / refereeing? I don't even know what to call it at this point. Scandal?
Not especially. Just there was something I was wanting to talk about, I think last week when we covered it, and I think the number of penalties that we've conceded this season versus the kind of team we are, just there's something that just doesn't really ring true for me. And again, I'm not making any allegations of corruption or anything like that, but I do think there is maybe a little bit of bias at play. And I think some of that bias is created by us being far too accommodating as a football club. But I think if you look at it, we've conceded the joint most penalties in the league. Us and Dundee are tied for the most penalties conceded, but we've only received 3 penalties in our 27 league fixtures this season. So we get one in every 9 games, but we actually concede one in every 3 games. So there's a huge disparity there between the penalties we give and receive. Now, you could put that down to a statistical anomaly and just say it's just one of those things that will even itself out over the course of the season. But actually, if you look at the data, we're a team that has the 4th highest possession in the league. Now, that would suggest to me, if you've got the 4th highest possession in the league and you play attractive, well, not necessarily always attractive, but more attacking, more possession-based football, you're less likely to concede penalties. So what you'd hope to see is that in the remaining, 11 fixtures we've got left this season, that statistical anomaly will even itself out, and by the end of the season, we'll be on a much more even keel with penalties. But I would suggest that's probably not going to happen over the course of 11 games. And I do find it frustrating because I have issues with at least half of those penalties that we've conceded in isolation. And actually, I think there's a strong case for at least half of those not being the right decision. And those ultimately cost points. It's cost us 2 points today, last night potentially. Maybe didn't cost us the game against St Mirren, given how abject we were over the course of that 90 minutes, but it certainly had a bearing on the game, and it's had a bearing on many other games this season. I just think it has to be better. It has to be better, and there has to be an evening out at some point between now and the end of the season to, I think, give us back ultimately what we've been cost over the course of this season by incorrect decisions.
Even then, one of the 3 penalties we got was against Hearts that we missed. But how Rolls wasn't he sent off for that? He stopped the ball going into the net.
I know.
So we were awarded a penalty, but it wasn't the full punishment. It was like a wee half reward. You can have a penalty, but he's not getting sent off. That would have been 10 minutes into the game against 10 men. Anyway, I'm getting rattled again. Sorry.
But last thing, go maybe.
I was going to say, somebody else going to explain to me as well how the position of that VAR review box is appropriate as well, right smack bang in the wheat field, where 2 feet that way and 2 feet that way, you've got them all at him while he's watching the review as well. Like, how is that? Who looked at that and went, for an independent point of view, mate, yep, we'll fire that there. Just
They should put it. They should put it. Where they've got the stairway to nowhere. They should put it right at the top of the steps. The referee runs to the top, comes out and checks it, because they could do that. Because it takes 2 minutes for them to be referred to the review thing system anyway. I mean, that's the madness about it, is we wasted 2 minutes waiting on seeing whether or not he needed to be referred to. He could have gone just taken that 2 minutes himself and come to the right conclusion under less pressure. Because at the point where it's already taken 2 minutes from being referred, the referee's already on the back foot. He's already under pressure because folk are fucking baying for blood and they just want the decision to be made. They want the game to move on and get on with it. The referee obviously has just got it wrong, and that's the first thing that you need to look at. But the whole process itself is just, anyway, can we fucking just stop talking about VAR?
I know, mate. I know.
Last one I want to put, just because someone sent in, Aki sent in, usually I'd suggest to people who think the SFA have an agenda against our club, 2 clubs in particular are Moonhowers, but decisions that have gone against us this year are beyond insane, including some of the decisions that haven't been given in years past. Is there a genuine agenda against us from the SFA? I don't think we should discuss that. As we said, I think it's more incompetence than actual targeted. But he did say, at what point did the club publicly call out the refereeing and ask for the audio to be published? See, the thing is, if they think that they're doing the correct thing, and they think, like, because see, the thing that annoys me, I'm annoyed at Clancy. I think he's made an absolute arse of it, and it's potentially cost us 2 points. Who knows what happens in the game if that doesn't happen? But for me, if he explains his decision after the game, being like, see for Fish's follow through, I thought he made enough connection that Vargas was like, it was enough to knock him off balance. If he says that, I'm angry. I disagree, but at least I understand his justification.
But
see, if I get the audio,
that's what he would say. That's what he would
I
say.
know, but like, see, just getting anything like that, like that's something that fans don't get. Like, see, in any other sport, you get the referees openly saying, "This is the reason I've done it." In Scottish football, in particular, we just don't get any form of transparency from the SFA or the refs.
I think that would make me more annoyed if Clancy came out after the game and went, "No, I was right to give a penalty." I think I'd be throwing chairs through the TV. I think I'm happy enough just to believe that he made a mistake. I think if I knew that he meant it, then I would be more rattled, I think.
Right, but as we say, I think if we keep going on about VAR for any longer, I think all our heads are going to implode. So moving on, we'll get some more listener talking points in a second, but I just wanted to open the floor to individual performances. I'll kick us off if we just want to take someone each, but if we overlap, that's cool. I think Jordan Abita is in a ridiculously good vein of form at Hibs. I thought he was fantastic the entire game last night. I know he made one slip up, but apart from that, I thought he was really good. And I know Liam's touched on it before, but the fact they can literally take half a touch and then put like a delicious ball into the middle of the box consistently, I think is strength. Jane Alexander, shout out to Jane. She listens to all our episodes and she's always dead nice after she listens to them. She sent in, loved the beat his challenge on Vargas in the first 10 minutes, sent him flying 100% the better team. They were there for the taking tonight. I don't know if you remember that in the first 10 seconds, he got sent in behind Abita and Abita literally lifted him off the floor with a shoulder badge. I was like, that is my player of the year right there. But yeah, handing over to you, Liam, is there any performances in particular that stood out to you yesterday? Let's be positive. We'll talk positive in this.
I'll just take the tap in, eh? I'll just take the tap in, that fucking sexy Danish bastard in midfield, man. So fucking good. Like, the spaces that he occupies, the touch, the thinking sometimes. I think the thing that's maybe held him back a wee bit so far, and I don't mean this as a kind of try to take other players down, but sometimes I just don't think there's other players in the team that are on the same wavelength as him. I think he's almost thinking 2 steps ahead of them at times. There was a couple of exchanges with Miller, for example, last night where Miller just didn't make the right movement. I think the one player who's definitely on the same wavelength as him is Maulida. I think the two of them combined very, very well. And I think actually Venti and Maulida combined very well last night as well. I'm already like scanning through Twitter this morning. There's lots of people who a few months ago were, or not a few months ago, a few weeks ago, were saying we've got no chance of keeping him, to now are like talking about this, like, oh well, you know, we just have to give him a decision to make in the summer and maybe he'll stay. What I'd say is what I said before, is just enjoy him while he's here. Let's not think about tomorrow. Let's not worry about what's going to happen or not going to happen in the summer. Let's just enjoy it. Do you know what he is? He's like a holiday romance at a football player. Like you're on holiday, you're both having a great time, you're kind of chilled, and you're just enjoying the short bit of time you've got together. Don't worry about what happens when you get on the flight back home to your separate locations. Just enjoy the romance while it's there. And I think that's what he is. I think he's going to be one of those players that will be a bit streets won't forget in a few years' time. But he's not staying. He's too good.
Well, Chris, we just had a lovely metaphor. I challenge you to follow that up with a different good performance from yesterday.
I mean, we say it all the time, but Mariah Welsh continues to be probably the most important player on the park for us. I mean, I'm yet to come away from a game and think he wasn't great. He's impressed me in every game that he's played, I think. So what I mentioned before about Montgomery maybe being on something of an upward trajectory now, and maybe personnel was the issue. I think he's one of the most important reasons for that, really. He's kind of gave us a brand new impetus in midfield that was lacking. So I would again just say Mariah Welsh. Without him, I don't think we play as well as we currently do, I guess.
Credit to him as well, because he had a difficult start to the game yesterday. I felt the first sort of 15, 20 minutes, a couple of balls just sort of bounced off him and he looked like he was playing his first derby, but I think he settled down after that and had a good game. And I think it's easy that if you have a tough start to the game to then go on and just have a bit of a nuke, but he absolutely didn't do that. He was good again, and has been really since he joined.
And McBee, is there any other ones any players that we've not touched on, or any one that we've mentioned that you'd want to?
I'm going to give a shout out for Rocky, right? Considering what happened at the end of the last derby, the fact he's been away, I thought he was superb last night. This isn't critical of him. This is just the way the recruitment's worked out. It's a huge problem on playing on the left, right? We definitely need our left centre back. If we want to play how he wants to play, we need somebody that can get that on his left peg and put it out wide. That being said, and I fucking hate the fact I'm going to say this, right? But Shankland is a right good player, and he's a really fucking streetwise shite. But I thought Rocky done a superb job on him all night. So fair play to him as well. I think he needs to definitely take a bow on that. I'm not saying it wasn't without faults at times, but I think overall it was a cracking performance at the back.
I would say, aside from the obvious moment at the end of the last derby, I think he's done a number on Shankland twice now, to be honest. Apart
I
from
agree.
one glaring error, obviously.
I can't listen, mate. I completely agree. I thought he'd done a great job against Shankland in the January derby there. And it's just spoilt by one moment. And to be fair, it's one moment of magic for him as well. Again, fucking spewing, having to say it. But is what it is. But he done a cracking job last night. See, Liam, just one thing about your sexy Danish bastard. So when the wee man got the top on Saturday, it was absolutely louping, right? Covered in sweat, I'm sure you can imagine. So it's been up in the house drying. The wee man had it out for me when I got in last night. And I came down this morning and he went, Dad, he went, go and have a smell of that. And I was like, wee man, I'm no smelling that at all. No chance. He went, no, go and have but look, you can smell the aftershave he's got on. And sure as hell, there's some, whatever it is, on his neck, some aftershave. I'm like, fair play, like you smell $1 million. Absolutely fantastic.
Spending Bill Foley's American dollars wisely on some extremely
cologne.
expensive aftershave, no doubt. Yeah, 60% of the time it works every time, kind of stuff.
I'm pretty sure Liam actually touched on that when we first signed. No, you. But did you say that he looked like he smelled nice?
I did. I said he looked like he smells great, and I don't even doubt it. Like there's just no way he doesn't smell good.
That's the thing. That should be a horrible stinking shirt, and it's not. It's absolutely fucking gorgeous.
Random story. My sister Beck, she was a ball girl when we played Barcelona at Murrayfield. Absolutely got papped about the place. And after jogging about for 90 minutes because he didn't really have anything to do, she said that Thierry Henry is the single nicest smelling man that she's ever met in her life because she got to like shake his hand and get an autograph after the game. So he's now the second nicest smelling footballer after Marcondes. That's what we're telling everybody. But one final thing on the game I wanted to talk about, and then we'll dive into a few more listener topics. In the group chat, Ewan I bumped into after the game, and he was quite disgruntled. He feels that we didn't step on and go for the jugular as much as we should have, and we settled for a point based off the last sub. But in-game management, something that we kind of discussed quite a lot about Montgomery. I think it's been a big discourse throughout the fan base. What did you guys make? I think everybody was happy enough, or we agreed in saying the starting lineup's what we all probably wanted. But after that, McBee, I'll come to you first. In terms of the three subs, what did you make of them?
First two I was all right with. The last one, yeah, I kind of agree to an extent, but at the same token, the situation we find ourselves in terms of kind of overreactions to derbies, kind of felt that it was a substitution that was, well, if we can't win it, let's not lose it. Do you know? And I think I didn't like saying that either. Like, can Oyas want to go there and turn them over? Like, it really does. But I think just given the bigger context of everything that's went on, certainly over the last few weeks, I can understand the pragmatism and bringing and doing that. Because, as I say, the last thing we needed was to experience another late on loss. Because let's be honest, there probably wouldn't have been any comeback for that.
Andrew, I have to disagree there. I think when you've got them on the rack, if you want, like that, Montgomery needs to trust the players more. And he knows as well as anybody that he needs a big result. He's not had a big result since he came into the club, really. He's chucked a few in the last minute, but he needs to trust the players and know that that's the night that we can get a big result. And I didn't think it was the time for the pragmatism. I have to say.
Can I come? Liam, I'll get you in a second. In my opinion, I think that I fully agree that Rocky, for 90 minutes, if it's good stoppage time, had Shankland on toast 2 games in a row. I think Rocky done really well. And the one time he didn't have him was at the very end of the game. I don't know if it was something to do with tiring, but as soon as Triantis came on, every single time they humped the ball forward because they stopped playing it for the back at the end, they just started lumping it. Triantis would be on one side of Shankland, Rocky would be on the other. Shankland couldn't do anything. So for me, that was they've only got one threat that we're worried about. We're nullifying him. We'll let the other players play. Because I don't actually think it stopped us. Like, I don't think it took us off the gas at all. I think we were still in full control of the game. So, like, I get that on paper it's frustrating taking off your key playmaker for a defensive midfield centre-back hybrid. I don't really know what Triantis' positions been against Dundee and Hearts, but it's not really been. It's been somewhere in between. So from my perspective, ensuring what happened the last time didn't happen again, I think is kind of learning a lesson. Because if Clark punts it up, Shankland gets the better of Rocky and scores, then it's like, why is that clown not learned from his mistakes? So in my opinion, I can justify it like that, but I do understand the frustration. Liam, I've been on one side. What do you think?
I'm going to be a wee bit contrary here because I had an issue with the timing of the substitution isolation because we're just about to take a corner right down in front of where we were stood, and his balls into the box are just far superior to anyone else that we've got in the team at the moment. So I have an issue with the timing.
Shite as well.
I know, so bad. Like, and we were in a period where we were creating probably a chance every few minutes, like a chance or a half chance every few minutes. Like, they felt like there was something coming. So I would have left it personally. But then I have to give the manager the benefit of the doubt in some respects. Like, contextually, is there something that we don't know? Like, was because Marcondes was holding his thigh for quite a period early on in the second half. When he came over to the fans, he was kind of rubbing up against that. I don't know, like, is it contextually, is there something we just don't know that actually kind of led him to making that substitution? But even having said that, I'm still not sure that Triantis is the guy that I would have brought on for him, and I think that's the thing that's difficult to sort of reconcile. I don't really have an issue with it if there's other context, but with the context that we have available to us, I probably do, which I know is a really kind of wheelie answer, but I just, I didn't love it at the time, and the people around me certainly did not love it.
I think there's an insecurity to Montgomery. I think that we've seen a couple of times, even on Saturday against Dundee. As soon as he thought it went 2-0, he's taken Mariah Welsh off to bring Amos on. It's like, right, I need to make a change. We need to shore this up. We can't lose, basically. And I think I don't know if it'll come, but it feels like there's an insecurity around him. Like, I think Jair is maybe a wee bit of a kind of example of that. He keeps kind of bringing him on as if to be like, this is my guy. I changed his career. Like, there just seems to be something that is making him make these decisions. And I like I said, I don't know if it's insecurity or whatever, but what happened at the end of the last derby happened. You just have to forget about it and move on. You've got a whole new team. You can't be like, oh, but what happened in December? And it's like, you can't be like that. Not in a game like that. I think when they're not up to anything, we're in the ascendancy. You have to go and win it.
I just think fun. Oh, sorry, you go, mate.
No, you're right, mate. I'm going to throw something out, right? And I really, again, I'm no one. I hate singling out players. It's a team game. It's a team performance, right? But when Emiliano came on, my word, absolutely minging performance. I remember there was a point where he sort of came inside and lost it as well, and they broke on us, and it was essentially a 3-on-2. But it got back to a 3-on-3 because he had got, for a change, got his arse back as well. And it only takes moments like for us to go on and concede. Because listen, I think we still are a wee bit fragile, despite the upward trajectory. And I just think, given the context of last night, and again, I come back to everything else, I can understand why it was made. I'm enamoured by it. I'm happy, exactly what you say, at the point the corner coming in where he was going to be taking it as well. Not far from it, but I can, basically what you're saying, Harry, I can reconcile it in my head why it was made as well. So, but it does sicken me because I honestly want to beat the bastards every single time. So
I'm also a little bit concerned with how we played after we scored as well. I don't know if anyone wants to touch on that, but there was 20 minutes up until they got the penalty where we just seemed to fold in on ourselves a little bit. And again, I don't know if that's the fragility of this team, the players, or if Montgomery's saying, ease off a little bit because we didn't want to concede. I don't know. Like, again, we don't know the context of that. But I mean, obviously Hearts are going to lift their game after going 1-0 down as well. We have to account for that. But it really felt like the game swung as soon as we scored, and that's not really the sign of a really good team, to be honest.
I at the time put that down to just lack of experience and lack of nous. Like, there was a couple of scenarios. There's one where we won a free kick up on the right hand side, and I think it was maybe Miller won it probably about 5 minutes before the goal, and we kicked the ball straight out of play from the free kick on the right hand side. And I remember turning around to my mates at the time just saying, like we hadn't had our foot on the ball for about 5 minutes or so at that point, and it was a perfect opportunity to get down and play it. And I just think if you've got maybe more experienced, in bracket sort of leadership kind of characters around, and maybe we would have found a way just to take the sting out of it. Because I think it was just a bit of them reacting to having gone behind, and I suppose their expectations, let's be honest, I mean, their expectations of their fans are higher than ours based on their derby record. So actually when they go behind, there is an expectation that they find a way to get back in the game and show something. That was a really odd period of the game, and really it was the only period of the game where they had anything like that kind of level of control.
Yeah.
Which how often can you say we've gone to Tynecastle and been the better side for 70 to 90 minutes? Not often.
Was a really weird one, because start of the game, both teams were kind of and then when we scored, it was literally like, right, let's just shut up shop, sit in. And the one thing is with Montgomery this year, there's been so many games in which we've passed the ball around the back to the extent that we just wanted the game to be over because we were bored. We literally needed to do that for a minute and a half just to settle everybody down, because we just kept, as you touched on there, Chris, when we conceded, we just sat further in and further in, and then it felt like the goal was inevitable. It was one of those games that I was praying for halftime to come before they got the goal, and then obviously what happened. But then as soon as the second half started, it flipped. They just sat back. And even though I don't like him because he fondles tractors in weird ways, Clark did pull off some really good saves, and I think there was 3 shots cleared off the line. It was just one of those ones. I think we definitely put in a good performance, and we were good enough to win the game. But as always, when it comes to derbies, the ball refuses to go in Hearts' net, and then they get a penalty or a wonder strike, and we get pegged back. Bastards.
But our reaction to their goal as well was really good, because we were right up the park and had an absolute great chance before the half-time whistle as well. So again, it wasn't. I just think it's an evolution of this team. I think you're right. Like I think there's a lack of experience, a lack of nous, especially going there as well. There was a lot of the new laddies feeling that for the first time. But listen, we didn't shrink overall, to be fair. So I think we're seeing that more than a few Hibs teams go there and shit their pants. So we didn't do that, and
I think a lot of that it does. You're right, and I think a lot of that is actually down to the fact that we don't have a lot of players with that much derby experience, to be honest. I was quite looking forward to that. It's quite refreshing that we don't have the same, we've got a lot of new guys who don't know the history of this derby and how they normally end up. So I think that's quite a good thing, I think, for us, to be honest. We could do with a wee bit of maybe people not knowing how these fixtures normally go.
Aye, but it's just the looking forward to that. Like, how many times have we definitely been in players' company where they go, "Oh God, we're away there." Like, when I seen a few of them bouncing through on Saturday, they were buzzing for this.
Yeah.
Like,
true.
they were well up for this.
True.
And I think you hear that from Marcondes. Like, I think what was it in these pre-match interviews? Some of the chat was, "This is the best game of the season." That's how you should be looking at it.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, come on then. Like, turn you over in your place. Fucking absolutely. I'm well up for this.
Yeah, absolutely agree. It's kind of nice to get a new, kind of fresh approach to these games, I think. We've had the same players getting us the same results for a long time now, and I don't want to single anyone out again, but it's nice to have a kind of a renewed approach to these games, I think.
And you do that, right? But you do that, you get players with that attitude by signing better players than we've currently got.
Well, that's true.
Quite
That's
simple.
true.
I mean, it's like you sign guys with better ability, they come in with that mindset. Sign guys who've maybe played at a level that's, comparable or better than this. Signing maybe fewer project players. And I do think one thing I worry about a wee bit, and sorry, Harry, to move this on to recruitment, is I worry in some respects about us. We signed some really good players in the January, but what I don't want that to then do is we then just evolve into this team who only look to sign players of that ilk from abroad with those reputations. And actually, I still think there's still value to be had in terms of signing local, homegrown Scottish players who can help, improve the team. Maybe not necessarily as guys that are kind of a Marcondes sort of ilk, because I don't think there's players in our league of that quality that are attainable for us, but just guys who are going to be, classic, like good, honest pro. Like, I can't think of another analogy, but yeah.
That is important. That is important to have. It's important to have players that kind of get the club and the fans can kind of connect with as well. Because I know we connect with anyone that plays for Hibs, but there is a kind of importance that you have people who have maybe kind of grown up around Hibs or even support Hibs or whatever. These things are kind of priceless.
And just to make sure our lovely listeners get some love, I'm just going to list off a few questions. Some of them can be quick fire, some of them we can go into a bit of depth in. But Dave Graham sent in 4 questions. He made a statement first and he said, Emmy, top 3 player of the modern era, double down, he's magic, you know. I genuinely don't think if we're taking modern era from like maybe 95 onwards, I'd probably say he's minimum top 5, just in terms of like actual ability.
I
Liam,
don't know. I've seen a lot of. Oh, sorry, Liam.
oh,
You go.
no,
You
sorry,
go.
Liam
Nah,
instantly went for the just
Just
incredibly
a
sour face.
fucking sample size, man. Like,
Yeah,
I know, but I'm not saying in
based,
terms of impact on the club. I'm saying in
yeah,
terms of
based on
actual
ability,
ability.
and what we've seen so far, you could probably make a case for it. You could certainly make a case for it. I just think I need to see more of him, and I don't mean just from an impact point of view, but there's only so much you can decipher about a player's ability for what have we seen him play 5 full games. He's clearly very, very, very good, and technically very good. Maybe the physical side of the game, it's not as much of a strength, although I wouldn't say it's a weakness.
Cool.
Top 3, I don't know. Like,
See, that's a huge statement, isn't it? Like that's like you're saying he's one of the best Hibs players ever.
well, you're putting him above Sozzy, Latipi, and
yeah.
No, but
Bayer,
if you're
if you're
top
going to make
5,
an
Soz is
arbitrary
obviously top.
Well, yeah, I mean, I guess, and you kind of had the same. I mean, I remember. I'm old enough to remember Sozzy being around. I know you are as well, Andrew. But there was definitely a kind of similar aura around him than there is to Marcondes, in that he comes with such a pedigree, and you can tell that his ability is there. You can see it straight away. It's the same as you could with Sozzy, just a cut above. But I don't know. I was saying this in that, like, I see quite a lot of stuff about Marcondes being one of the, like say, these are huge statements. Like, he's one of the top 3 players to play for Hibs and stuff. And I'm like, it's great. It's great he's here, but for somebody to be given that sort of billing, I need to see something sensational. Like, I need to see things going in the top corner. I need to see all sorts of stuff before I start saying he's one of the best players to ever play for Hibs.
There's levels to pedigree as well. Like Sozzy was a European Cup winner,
well, that's
albeit in his
true.
30s, and Marcondes was a very good championship footballer in England who won a playoff final. Like there are levels, and he is just very, very good. Like let's do the comparisons when he's done at Hibs. When his time's over, let's then do the comparisons, and it'll be fairer.
If he wins the Scottish Cup, he can be the best player ever, in my opinion.
When we finish third with the Scottish Cup after winning every game for the rest of the season, boys, we can have a very happy Marcondes conversation. But yes or no answers to the next 3 questions. I'll take the first one. Is a player of the year? Yes. McB, for you, is Rocky our RCB for the next few years?
Yes.
Straight in there. And then Liam, for yourself, is Yuan just having a big strop, or is he broken? Essentially.
Nah, just one of those players, mate, that's going to be consistently inconsistent, and he is what you get with him. He's a maverick. He's going to go through periods like this in his career, whatever club he's at, even when he irons out some of those flaws in his game. So no, he's not done by any stretch of the imagination.
And just sorry to sidetrack slightly, I was in a group chat with Ewan earlier, and Ewan, not Yuan, and Ewan put he was rubbish when he came on. Then the next message, should have had an assist though, and I just think that sums him up perfectly. Like no matter how bad he is, he should always have a goal involvement. So it's like you roll with the punches when it comes to Yuan. And then I've teed this one off perfectly for yourself here, Chris. Can the fans now finally get behind the project and Super Nick Montgomery?
Yeah. Yeah, why not? Yeah, nah, I mean, well, we've got no choice, do we? But yeah, it's got better. And yet to be fully convinced, but we're certainly better than we were, and yeah, everyone should just get behind him, I reckon.
And in terms of talking points, I don't want to cover, a lot of people have sent in good points, but they are quite similar to one another. So a bit of future gazing. Eddie has sent in, since St Mirren debacle, Hibs are improving, but VAR letting us down. Robbed 2 points tonight, 2 versus Aberdeen, 1 maybe 3 against Celtic. Now, looking ahead, we've got 6 games till the split, which is Ross County twice, Livy, Rangers, St Johnstone and Motherwell. He said 15 out of 18 points is achievable going by recent performances. So for you guys, what's the minimum we should be expecting to take from the next 6 games, and what do you actually expect us to take? Liam, you're quick at maths. We'll come to you first on that.
What I can do 6 multiplied by 3.
Yeah, maybe a couple of ones in there as well. You never
got my 3 times table nailed down from an early age. I'm impressed. I'm a 6 time table. Now, I mean, I think looking at it, I've just gone with the fixtures up there just now. Ross County twice should be 6 points. Livingston at home should be 9. Rangers away will be difficult. Wouldn't expect to get anything there, to be honest. St Johnstone at home should be another 3. Motherwell away, there's no reason that can't be 3. That's the 6 league fixtures, and then obviously the Scottish Cup game against Rangers, which is massive. I mean, that's another one of those biggest games of the season coming around. So I do think we're capable of putting a run together. I do think we're capable. And I actually think we might as well. I actually think we might surprise a few people in the Scottish Cup as well.
And McBee, what about yourself? Where are you thinking?
I echo Liam entirely. I think we just needed to get to this point as well. Like, where the signings bedding in more and more, the manager getting exactly what he wants in terms of style, play, players available to him. It's just we needed to get here, and now this is the point where there's no excuses, really, to be honest with you. Right? You know, we've got 3 games against the bottom 2. You've got and I hate that term as well, free hit in the cup against Rangers as well, going up a go at them, and then Motherwell more than achievable beating them as well. So I didn't see any reason why 15 out of 18 isn't achievable.
Same boat for yourself, Chris. Are we getting all 50? I reckon we're getting all 18, and we're beating Rangers in the cup as well. Let's get a 7-win streak on the go.
I mean, as good as that would be, to be honest, I just think the next 3 are 3 must-wins. I think we have to get 9 for 9. I think that's and other than that, I don't think the games beyond that really matter. In terms of, like, if we're going to make a late run and try and get into a European place or whatever, we need 9 points for the next 3 games. I think that's all I'm really thinking about.
Are you adding to that, Liam? You're ready to speak.
No. Sorry, I wasn't. No. You said a few times that playing Ross County twice in succession is like some kind of that's kind of hampering factor. And I just don't agree with that. Like, they're not a good team. We just need to stop making excuses. We need to stop creating excuses. We just need to go and win the games that we should win. We had, I don't know how many opportunities last season to go and secure top 6 with very, very winnable fixtures and actually put ourselves in the race for 3rd, 4th place, and we didn't take them. The Dun United game at Tannadice springs to mind. I think we just need to take all available excuses away and just say, like, the attacking players that we've got, with the front 4 or 5 players that we've got, we should be blowing Livingston and Ross County out of the water, with all due respect to them. We just have better players. I know defensively, maybe, there's still some frailties there, but we just have better players. We just have to win those games. We couldn't ask really, other than Rangers. I don't think we could ask for a nicer run of fixtures between now and the split.
Yeah, and like the thing is with the next 3, especially if you look at them again in isolation, you're playing against the second bottom team at home, the second bottom team away, and the bottom team at home. Like that has to be, like, if you want to be a team that finishes in the top 6 consistently, you just need to beat the shit teams. And no offense to them, but both of the, like, Livingston, I think I've got 3 wins all season. Like, it's inexcusable not to win that game. So hopefully, Eddie, in answer to your question, we're all gunning for it. I would say minimum 12 points from those games, because it's normally difficult to string 5 wins out of 6, like, realistically. So I reckon if we got 12, then
you're already doing it, mate. You're already being far too accommodating. Don't accommodate that. The minimum should be 15 points. Like, that should be the minimum. This is the thing.
The problem, the problem I think that we've got is the same problem we've had all season. It's the defence. It's the fragility of the defence, and it's costing goals. And if that happens, like it probably will at some point. It's about, are we still going to win that game even when the defence is costing us goals? And that's if we'd signed a centre half in January that was like a starting centre half, I reckon we'd have a great chance of getting right up there by the end of the season. But I just think the defence is too fragile to put any sort of meaningful run together. Like you're saying, win six games in a row. I just don't know if we can do it. I think we give up too many goals.
I do. I think Bevan was meant to be that player, wasn't he? And ultimately, it's just not worked out for whatever reason. Because of injuries. But I do think we'd made attempts to plug that gap. We'd identified that, but it's just where we find ourselves. Like, we've given ourselves quite a lot of work to do at this stage of the season because of our inconsistency through that middle part of the season. We now need to like take away the time for excuses. The run in is the run in to the split. It's the same kind of every year, really. In reality, you need points for whatever cause that you're working towards. I do think that group of players is capable of winning 5 on the spin.
And we got some. I like it, boys. When Hibs play well, we actually get positive comments, and it's not just let's burn the club to the ground and hope they never exist again. Max Voberl said, "So frustrating not to come away with the win. All things considered, I'm extremely excited for the future with the investment. We're on the right track. Hashtag Hibs. Hashtag sign my leader." The Rebel Heidi said, "Credit where it's due for Monte Etal. Great performance, robbed and should have taken chances." And then another positive one came in. Dan Taylor said, "As dominant a performance I've seen at Tynecastle for a long time. Created countless chances and should have won the game. The manager got it spot on and the players were excellent. Penalty decision is farcical. Top 6 finish, definitely achievable on the back of that performance." Just touching on it there, top 6 has got to be the minimum now. Dundee, obviously, we packed them at the weekend. They got pumped the other day. I know they've got 3 home games coming up, but they're not exactly easy home games. I think it's Aberdeen, St Mirren and Rangers in that. So only looking upwards from here, we surely should be targeting 5th as opposed to hoping to just jump over Dundee. McBee, we'll come to you first on that. Top 6 the minimum?
Aye, it's inexcusable for anything else. It's as simple as that.
Nice. And then Chris, Liam, you've already said that less than 15 points is inexcusable, and that by that point we're already touching 5th. So yeah, looking good. And then quickly, we did get a few other points in, but I think they are quite similar to what we've covered. Albert Street did send in, "Why is Naismith such a wee fanny?" It's because he's a Jambo Rangers bastard. I don't know if any of you have got any add-ons to Naismith, but I think that summarises him pretty well.
Could chuck Baldy in there as well.
He is chronically bald.
It does look a lot like a potato, doesn't
He
it?
does. He's a hideous man.
Like, if they had to do a budget Harry Potter, he could be casted as Voldemort, just like a scrawny wee version. But let's look ahead. Obviously, as we touched on, we got Ross County at the weekend. In terms of personnel, I know that some of the players essentially ran themselves into the ground in the form of Mariah Welsh and potentially Marcondes. I do think he looked like he was tiring. Would you potentially see any rotation, or do you guys think if players are available, just stick with the? We've got. It seems to me like we've got a definitive starting best 11 at the club at the moment.
How often could you have said that as well over the last few months, right? You could have, you literally up until about 6 weeks ago could have been picking anybody, and you wouldn't, or turning up at the game and no really having a starting 11 you could hang your hat on. Whereas now we've got it, so I wouldn't make any changes personally.
No, especially with Amos wasn't even on the bench yesterday, was he? He's maybe one if like your Mariah Welsh or whatever, if he's because he was doing doggies for 2 games basically. So if he was maybe flagging a bit, you could bring Amos in maybe. But if he wasn't on the bench last night, then he's obviously not fit, which seems to be a bit of a feature of his career, I think.
And Liam, full house, happy with the same team?
Same team for me. I think if we had a game the midweek following, I'd maybe consider changing it, but given another week, more than a week to rest ahead of the Rangers game, I would just keep it the same.
Hey. And in terms of scout of Ross County, I attempted some of the Ross County against St Mirren game, and I would implore you not to do the same because it could have got football stopped. It was that bad. Football's such a strange thing because St Mirren came to Easter Road, absolutely bullied us, dominated us, and I thought, you know what, they're going to kick on and finish 4th easily, and then they were equally as bad as Ross County. So going into the game, What's the score predictions, McBee? I'll come to you first. How do you think this game's going to pan out on Saturday?
I will always stick, whenever anybody asks this, the famous 2-1 Hibs. I'm always going to go with that. Do you know what, guys? Like, as good as we were last night, it's what I say, and we've talked about already. I still think there's fragility in there. I can't see us not conceding. It seems that Ross County are now starting to fire a few goals as well. But I think our attacking prowess far outweighs that fragility as it stands now. So, 2-1 Hibs.
2-1 Hibs. Chris, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I mean, I would love us to win a game comfortably. I'd like to comfortably win one game this season. That would be nice. But I'm the same as Andrew. I just can't see us keeping many clean sheets. But I'll say that you know, we keep making these chances and not taking them, and on another day. I'm going to say that Saturday is the other day, and we'll win 3-1.
Yeah, somebody's got to take a hiding off us. I ken that's
Yeah, I know.
cliched bullshit, but somebody is going to take a walloping, I think.
And Liam, do you think that Ross County are taking the walloping at Easter Road on Saturday?
I think we'll win 4-1. Similar logic to the others. I think we'll concede, but I think we'll do the thing where we put away all the chances that we effectively missed last night on Saturday.
You know what? I don't know what he's done, but I think that Dylan Vent is finally making peace with the gods. He must have done something to wind him up in recent weeks, because it's just not went in the back of the net. But I think Saturday's where it's finally clicking for him. He's going to get 2 goals. Yuan's going to get 1 off the bench, and we're going to win 3-0. It's going to be a lovely afternoon. It's going to be stress-free with no VAR involvement. And we're just going to be happy, guys. We're going to be happy come Saturday evening. But yeah, we had the thrills, the horrors of the Edinburgh Derby. And thanks very much, McBee. Thanks very much, Chris, for joining us. And Liam, thanks as always.
Nice
We'll
one,
catch
mate.
you guys
Cheers.
next time.
Cheers, boys.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Bye.